Okay, let's try this again. I just tried for the first time doing a video on my computer and didn't work out. I had no audio. I thought it would be better if I used my earbuds, but apparently they don't have a microphone in them. So hopefully my audio comes through. Hopefully this works. I have thought about posting many videos over different things. I love to cook, I love to bake, and we'll post some of those. I've got great recipes, make easy, delicious. You can cook like a chef at home. I can help you, and I'm going to. But for now, we're going to start with this. This will be my first video. I It's going to be my testimony. It's my testimony, and it's my thank you to Jesus, and it's my love for mankind. So many are lost. So many are hopeless. So many are scared and anxious and have a God sized hole that they don't know what's missing. They have blinders on. They have scales over their eyes from the world. Been conditioned to think that evil is normal and what's cool is actually evil. Been conditioned for a long time. The television has been telling us a view that they want us to follow. And we have. We have. We've played right along. It's not our fault, though. Doesn't make us stupid or gullible whatsoever. They worked hard on their ways and succeeded what it was that they wanted to do. And they used music and movies and Good Fight Ministries. I want to thank those guys for exposing so very much. I sold my soul for rock and roll. Highly recommend that one. Highly, highly, highly recommend that one. But I'm going to talk a little bit about Fast Times at Ridgemont High um, and the effect that I didn't realize when I watched the movie the first time. I thought that's what cool is. Those guys are cool, and that was normal, and that was how I wanted my high school years to um, be something like that. Those guys, they were cool, and I'd say I pretty came pretty close to achieving those goals. I'm not proud of it. I'm not proud of it at all. No, we had fun in the moment because we didn't know any better. We didn't realize the danger that we were in, and I thank God that we didn't. Literally, I thank God that we didn't. And because this world is just evil, it is simply evil, and it's disguised in lots of different fun packages. Um, we wouldn't go for it if it wasn't, would we? So here's my story. Yeah, like I said, Fast Times at Ridgemont High. That was what I strived for. That was the goal, and that was pretty well succeeded. So that being said, my friends and I partied hard, and schoolwork wasn't a priority for us. Having fun and living in the moment, and what felt good. That was what else mattered. What else mattered when we were teenagers? Nothing, because we weren't told any different. And I don't blame our parents because they were lied to too. This goes way back. Goes way way back. You can do your own research on all of that stuff. I watch so many videos on history and of America and whatnot that it's really opened my eyes and helped me to forgive myself, forgive my parents. I'm not mad at anyone. um, the system, the beast, the enemy. I am mad at, the enemy, but he's just doing, what he's always said he was going to do, which was take as many souls and do whatever it takes to get them. He will lie, kill, steal, and destroy to get your soul. And so that lifestyle led to Eventually, not a very successful young adulthood, and not a job that would pay very well, and getting evicted from my first apartment and having to move back home with my parents when my son was 2 years old, um, because during a party a friend busted a window out and there had been too much traffic. And yeah, well, I thought, what did you think was going to happen when you give an 18-year-old apartment? 18 or 19 or however I was when I moved in there. I know that my son was 2 when I moved out, which would have made me about 20 years old when I got evicted from that apartment and moved back in with my parents. And they gave me 6 months to make other arrangements, which was so kind of them. It really was. It was more than anyone else was willing to do. So thanks, Dad and them, for taking us in and setting those boundaries. It would have been great to have family around to help me raise my son and give me values, but I don't know that I would have taken it anyways, because at that point I was still blind and saw the world completely different than I do today. And drinking and partying were just normal. They were just normal. It's the American way. That's what you do. It's a pastime. People drink to relax, they drink to celebrate. They have a drink when they're sad, they have a drink when they're stressed. It's normal. Not for everyone. Not everybody can take it. In fact, a lot of us cannot handle it well at all. It is poison. You are consuming poison. It is a depressant. It will make you have depression. Um, let's get back on track though. Um, it, that was a tough demon for me to fight right there. So by the time I was 21, I was a single mother and had a child with when I started dating him at the age of 17 and he was 20. He was a cocaine dealer, and I was hanging out with Colombians and going out to dinner, and thought it was cool to be part of very big drug deals. Yeah, cocaine was the drug, and I thought it was exciting lifestyle. I was a very hurt little girl. When I was 16, my parents had forced me to have an abortion. I didn't want to have. I didn't know how I was going to take care of a baby, but I knew that I didn't believe in abortion, and my parents told me that that was the thing that I had to do or find somewhere else to live. So I had that going on, and that causes some mental issues, a lot of mental issues. And within a year, I had met this drug dealer who I thought I loved and got pregnant again and had my son. Um, So after I moved back home and my parents gave me a limited amount of time to get back out, they also were going to move, and they were moving into a mobile home for the summer season, and then they would be staying in my grandmother's house while she was in Florida for the winter, and they would stay in her house during the winter. So they had their situation set pretty well, and I needed to figure out mine, and I was running out of time. I was working at a waterbeds and stuff, which was a lot of fun, but no money. And I knew a girl that was working at a gentleman's club, a stripper club, and I never thought that was something that I could do. In fact, I had a hard time even giving her a ride to work and walking into that place. I thought it was ridiculous the that they could walk around in their underwear in front of strangers and it didn't bother them the few times that I was there. I was embarrassed for them. However, I was running out of time. I needed money. She told me about a club that was going to be opening, and it was upscale for what they are, and it was. She wanted me to come in and check it out, so I did. And I happen to know the owner. I knew him when I was a child, and he kind of looked out for me, and I made a lot of money and fueled my alcoholism and fueled my low self esteem by hearing the lies and the false attraction and then giving it right back. So I'm feeling empowered by that. It's quite a vicious cycle. But the world that I lived in, it was normal. And then first time I ever smoked crack, I was 17. I didn't make a habit out of it, but that's what we did for my 17th birthday. And then once I started drinking more, that looked more attractive more and more. So now I am dancing in the go-go bars, and when I don't have my son, because he normally spends the night wherever, my friends that watched him, I only had two friends that lived close by that I trusted to watch him, and it was usually easier for him to just sleep over instead of leaving at 3 in the morning, and I would just get him in the morning. So I would party all night, send him to preschool in the morning, and then get my sleep, and then get ready to go do it again. That was my cycle. And my sister had been pulled from the world. Jesus pulled her from the world by a family that she married into, and she fell in love immediately with Jesus. And I thought she had lost her complete mind. I thought she was lost it, and but I listened to her, and I loved her, and I believed in God, just not as much as she did. And she offered to start watching my son for me on Saturdays and keep him Saturday night and through Sunday if I would go to church on Sunday nights with her. And the church that she was going to on Sunday nights, let me tell you, the fire in that church. There's still fire in that church, but not like those Sunday nights. There was something about those Sunday nights. The chandeliers had little hoops on them, and we said that those were because we needed them. We was gonna be swinging from them. It wasn't gonna take much more before we would be swinging from them. So that's yeah. She got me in there, and that's how what I became. I fell hard, and something changed within me that I couldn't deny. Um, it was like scales just dropped from my eyes, and the whole world looked different. My life was a mess. It was a mess. I saw it for what it was. I was swinging on stripper poles and smoking crack. I was not a good mother. I was a mess. And now that I see it, what am I going to do about it? I don't know. I wasn't going to do anything. Absolutely nothing. That's what absolutely nothing. God worked it all out. He worked it all out. There was nothing that I could do. I had my life situated to what it was. And I went back to work on Monday morning because I had to pay the bills. Like, I still have to pay the bills. Yes, something's changed in me, but I still have to pay the rent. I don't want to be homeless. I don't want to do that to my child. However, when I went to work, I knew that I couldn't do that anymore. I didn't know what I was going to do to pay the bills, but I knew it couldn't be that. So I walked out, and God made a way, and God has continued to make a way. I have went back to some of my old ways since 1996 when this first happened. This was in 1996 when this took place, and my son was 3 years old. Maybe four. Yeah, I believe he was 3 years old. No, 1996 he was 5. I forgive me. So, yeah, this has been a long time ago. Yeah. So, I just know by writing in my Bible that I still read every day that I got that Bible in 1996. So, I'm going to assume that that's when it was. It could have been 1995 when that took place. But my Bible that I got during that period of my life was given to me by my sister and autographed in 1996. So, anyways, that being said, now I'll move on to, I um, went hard. And when I fell at that time, I fell hard, and I changed very much, and not because I was trying to. It was just what I wanted to do and what felt comfortable. I started following the standards of the church that I went to. However, I didn't know that I believed that those were the things that would keep me from heaven if I didn't. And so that was, part of me questioning everything. I knew that the original day of Sabbath that God had set was on Saturday. I always knew that because Schottenstein's was closed on Saturday because it was the Hebrew Sabbath. And God originally set everything and gave everything to us in Hebrew. So obviously that is the original Sabbath. And I was curious about that, and didn't know of any Saturday churches to teach about it. So I just started researching it on my own. And that's what I would do on Saturday on the Sabbath, is research all different religions to know that where I was where I wanted to be.